As major companies on the BRVM publish their 9-month earnings, Stéphane Hié, head of asset management at Hudson and Co, joins us to review the earnings performance of some key companies. Stéphane, thank you for taking the time out to join us. Let's get right to it. I'm looking at some of the numbers from some key companies on the BRVM, and I'd just like to hear your thoughts. What would you say is the overriding theme or key takeaways from you looking at those numbers?
Well, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be with you guys. It's very important for us to mention that out of the 46 listed stocks, only 34 of them have published their first semester quarterly results. For the third quarter, they only 23 of those 46 have provided their results. The deadline was October 31st. But if I want to mention something, the primary thing that I would say is that Sonatel, which is the biggest market cap on our BRVM stock market, has a Q3 turnover increase of 3%, and the net income in the opposite is actually down 2%. We would say that the turnover growth was mainly driven by the retail, with a positive contribution mainly from countries like Guinea, Mali, Sierra Leone, covering the decrease in Senegal, which is the main contributor of their turnover. So for the BRVM, we're looking at the biggest market cap there. The drop of 2% is actually understandable when we're looking at the year-to-date performance of the stock, which is at about minus 32%. So this is the first thing that I can say. I wanted to talk about a little bit other sectors. For instance, the rubber sector, the agro-industrial sector, with SAPH, which is the biggest company, rubber company in the BRVM. Their Q3 was marked by an improvement of the rubber prices on the market, internationally speaking. Even so, the upturn remains unpredictable. So the revenues went up by 14% in Q3 2020 in comparison to 2019 at the same period, and the net income stands at about 3 billion XOF against 1.22 billion XOF in quarter 3 2019, which is an increase of 163%. So it's very significant for this company, which has a good potential if the rubber price in the international markets keeps going up, as it has been doing for the past couple of months. I also want to state something about
Stéphane, if I could just come in here, Stéphane, I'd like you to just help us understand, because we've seen the impact. We still do not know the full impact that COVID-19 would have had on economies, especially here in Africa. But to what extent would you say these companies were impacted by COVID-19 and the subsequent lockdown that we saw?
Of course, the impact of the COVID-19 has been very effective on those companies, because we can say that the negative impact comes from the fact that everything was closed at some point, and we had curfews implemented across the country and across the West African region. If I'm looking at companies like Uniwax, which is in the textile industry, they were not able to open shops, they were not able to open retail, they were not able to ship their products across the continent. So they had a huge drop of their net income by about 79% over the course of the year. If I'm looking at the year-to-date performance, they are down 45%. So if you're looking at the stock market as a whole being down 19%, one of the reasons primarily is the fact that COVID-19 has been slowing down all the activities across the country, economically speaking.
Okay, I'd like you to, let's quickly talk about Burkina Faso, that's going to hold presidential elections on Sunday. Are you expecting any market impact, or are you already seeing any impact at the market?
Well, Burkina Faso only has a couple of stocks at the BRVM. You have Onatel, which is the telecom company. You have Bank of Africa Burkina Faso, which is a bank, and you also have Coris Bank. You don't have as much company based in Burkina Faso that are listed on the stock market. But looking at what's going on in Burkina Faso, politically speaking, the election seems to be going quite well. There is no turmoil, there is no issues, there is no gridlock there. The process has been done correctly, and everything is going smooth. So I think that the election will not have an impact, politically speaking, on the stock market. The only issue that they have there is terrorist activities that have been very rampant this past couple of months and years. And this is the only issue that they have to deal with. But on the political aspect of things, everything seems to be quite smooth in Burkina Faso.